கடந்த சில நாட்களாக ஒரு உணர்ச்சி பூர்வமான போராட்டம் தமிழகம் மட்டுமில்லாமல் உலகெங்கிலும் தமிழர்கள் நடத்தி கொண்டு வருகிறார்கள். ஜல்லிக்கட்டு எங்கள் பாரம்பரியம், எங்கள் கலாச்சாரம், இதை நாங்கள் ஏன் விட்டுக் கொடுக்க வேண்டும் என்று கேள்வி எழுப்பியுள்ளார்கள். We Behindwoods have contacted Poorva Joshipura, the CEO of PETA India, in a telephonic interview. இந்த இன்டர்வியூவில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு அடிப்படை தமிழனாக கேள்விகளை எழுப்பியுள்ளோம். ஜல்லிக்கட்டை நீங்கள் ஏன் தடை செய்ய நினைக்கிறீர்கள், அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் தமிழகம் எங்கும் பரவலாக கேட்கப்பட்டு வரும் கேள்விகளை எழுப்பியுள்ளோம்.
Yes, we have seen it. It demonstrates a huge ignorance over what's happening in court and how this all began. The history of the case in the court over Jallikattu actually started in 2006. The first case was filed by a man called A. Nagarajan, who's from Madurai. He filed the case against Jallikattu in court because his youngest son died during a Jallikattu event. So that's how all of this actually began. There's numerous organizations that have since gone to court and supported the move to to ensure that the bulls are protected. One of those organizations is a government body, the Animal Welfare Board of India, which operates under the Ministry of Environment and Forest. Of course, everybody knows that PETA India has also gone to court, but so has FIAPO. FIAPO is a network of animal protection organizations all across India. And so has another animal protection group called PUPA, as have numerous individuals. So the focus on PETA over the last several years shows an absolute ignorance of the fact that all of this began because the son of somebody from Madurai died during a Jallikattu event. It also shows a total lack of ignorance on how what PETA's abilities are. PETA is not a lawmaking body. We have no authority to either make law or to change law. That is done at the government level. It's the government, central government laws under which Jallikattu, bull races, bullfights, and other such uses of bulls for performances are banned. And it is these laws which organizations like ourselves, other animal protection organizations, other individuals have gone to court to try to get those laws upheld. Once again, it is not all Tamilians who support Jallikattu. I will go right back to the... Let me finish. No, it hasn't been at all. It hasn't been at all.
There have been people who have voted in cases. You told me you...
Of course, but there's so many more Tamilian people than the people there are on the streets. There's so many more individuals who care about animals. And let me go right back to the point that all of this started in court because a Tamilian lost. That's how all of this began. There's been a number of articles written by Tamilians that have come out in the press over the last several days stating that they do not support Jallikattu.
But there has been unprecedented support in a larger scale, even outside India. So what will PETA's response be towards it? You've told me that not majority support.
My response is PETA does not make the law. The central government law, bans the use of bulls in performances. The Central Government Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960 bans being cruel to animals or causing them unnecessary suffering. These things are in place at the central government level. As an animal protection group, it is our duty to ensure India's animal protection laws are respected.
Okay.
That's our duty as an animal protection group. We are asking our personal pride, definitely not. PETA, anybody can look into PETA's history and know that we have fought for animals, whether they're mice and rats or dogs or cats or chickens or pigs or, cattle or fish. We're doing it out of any work that we do for animals is out of our duty, out of our constitutional mandate to have compassion for animals. What we're asking people to do is not to disregard the bulls who are given no choice in the matter and who don't want to be there. We're asking them not to disregard the 43 Jallikattu during the years from 2008 to 2014 and the over 5,000 people who got injured during that time. We're asking them not to disregard the 2 bulls who were just killed during an illegal Jallikattu, and we're asking them not to disregard the other additional human beings who've recently lost their lives in the last few days during an illegal Jallikattu, and we're asking them to respect the laws of our country. That's what we're asking.
You see, in 2009, those rules and regulations had already been put in place by the Tamil Nadu government.
Yes.
When the Animal Welfare Board of India inspectors, when these inspectors went to Jallikattu after Jallikattu after Jallikattu as part of their duty, they discovered that not only were these rules and regulations absolutely flaccid, but cruelty is inherent in Jallikattu. You know, the volume of people who get hurt or who get killed during Jallikattu events is tremendous. You cannot compare that. There's actually no comparison with that with other kinds of sports. The Supreme Court ban on the use of bulls for Jallikattu, or it's not the Supreme Court ban, but the legal ban the Supreme Court confirmed, is against the cruelty of Jallikattu. It does not prevent anyone from coming up with other ways of protecting these native cattle. And during Jallikattu, when the bulls are trained, or when they get hurt during either training or during the actual event, they're usually sent for slaughter. And this is especially the case with broken bones, something that happens very often, because any veterinarian would tell you that it's very hard to keep a bull that has broken legs alive. The Animal Husbandry Departments of all the various state governments in India already have various other schemes in place, scientific schemes in place, such as preserving the germplasm or the DNA of the various native breeds, not only of bulls, but of goats and sheep and other animals. All of those things are already in place. You don't need to be cruel to bulls to help bulls. That logic really just doesn't work. You don't have to be cruel to someone for some larger so-called benefit. You can reach that benefit in other ways, especially if you care about those cattle. PETA's work in relation to Jallikattu is probably 1% of our work. The whole hoo-ha over Jallikattu has been created by Jallikattu supporters. PETA's job as an animal protection organization is to uphold Indian laws. Indian law at present bans the use of bulls in performances. It also bans the use of animals in a way that causes them unnecessary suffering. However, under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, unfortunately, there is an exception. And that exception is animals used for food. So when it comes to why Jallikattu or why bull races or why bull fights, that's because Indian law already bans those things. Just like Indian law bans dog fights, just like Indian law bans cockfights, just like Indian law bans hunting, I hope that one day PETA and all of the other people who support this movement against slaughter are successful in making slaughter also illegal. Until that happens, we have to work to at least ensure the law is upheld. And therefore, PETA is in the Supreme Court. Hang on. PETA is in the Supreme Court against the illegal treatment of animals during transport and slaughter. Illegal treatment includes unlicensed slaughterhouses. Many cows are killed in unlicensed slaughterhouses. Yeah. Well, PETA's motto is in part that animals are not ours to eat or wear. And PETA has been campaigning against animal slaughter since the first day that it was set up. Let me explain why India is number one in beef exports. India is number one in beef exports because India is the number one dairy producer. The two things go hand in hand. So in India, unlike in other countries, there's no such thing as cattle raised specifically for beef. In other countries, you may have beef cattle feedlots where they fatten up the cattle before they're slaughtered. In India, most of the beef cattle come from the dairy industry. And they come from the dairy industry by two different ways. One is the male cattle who are born into the dairy industry are often considered useless by the dairy industry. And so those baby animals often fairly immediately get sent to slaughter. Second is the female cows who are considered no longer of use because they don't produce as much milk as the dairy considers to be viable. And so they ultimately are sent to slaughter. PETA is not a law-making body. We're a law-abiding body. That means that we can, just like any regular citizen, push the government to try to make better laws for animals until that is successful and we don't control the government, and we don't have the ability to make laws ourselves. Until such time that happens, we have to push for the enforcement of the laws which are there. And among the things that we're trying to achieve through that Supreme Court case are things like, municipal slaughterhouses not being allowed to export the meat. Because as per the Slaughterhouse Rules 2001, they're really supposed to only be producing meat for the local population. If we're successful in that will really bring down the number of animals that are slaughtered. We're also pushing for the closure of slaughterhouses that are not registered in the way that they're supposed to be legally registered with the FSSAI. Again, if we're successful in the closure of those slaughterhouses, that will really help a lot of animals. But we would love to see a ban on the killing of animals. We have supported beef bans when they have been there. We've publicly supported them. We would love to see more bans on animals used for slaughter, but we need the help of people. We need the help of people by, and we're working on this, by encouraging them not to consume the products of these animals' deaths, whether that be food, either in terms of milk or meat, or whether that be leather. I would love to see horse racing banned. I think you might be talking about another organization, maybe People for Animals. But again, I would love to see horse racing banned. Horse racing is so cruel. Horses are run to the point of exhaustion. They're often given veterinary drugs to mask their pain, and they end up with broken bones and so on. They're whipped. I mean, they're treated horribly cruel. But it is not illegal under Indian law. I wish it was. Again, I'm not somebody who can make the law. The reason why perhaps you or some other people think that our focus is very heavily on Jallikattu is because that's what you're paying attention to. Whereas the reality of the situation is that PETA has gone to the same Supreme Court when it comes to animal transport and slaughter. We have asked for the same existing laws which there are to protect animals who are used for slaughter to be applied, just like we ask for the same, for laws which apply to these bulls to be applied in the Supreme Court. We are also in the Supreme Court against the killing of birds and human beings with the use of manja. And maybe you have not heard, but the National Green Tribunal had passed an interim ban against the use of sharp manja because of the volume of birds and human beings who were dying as a result of this, and we continue to work on that case. We are in numerous courts over the use of animals in circuses. We've rescued many animals from many circuses throughout India. We were just in the Chennai High Court over cruelty to dogs in the process of them being bred and to be sold to the public. We work with the government to end the use of animals during experimentation. We have succeeded in numerous victories for that, including ending the use of animals to train students at the zoology and life sciences level, undergraduate medical school, pharmacy education, dental education. We've just managed to end the testing of chemicals in rabbits' eyes and on their skin. This is called the Dray's test. We have succeeded in ending the testing of cosmetics on animals in India. We've succeeded in ending the testing of certain types of household products on animals in India. I mean, these are just a few nutshell types of examples of our work and what we have achieved. And the majority of our work is actually in encouraging people to adopt a vegan lifestyle. Vegans are, and I don't only mean dietary vegan, I mean somebody who doesn't consume animal products, someone who doesn't wear animal products, someone who doesn't buy animal tested products, because it's only when the general public stops using these cruel products that we will actually see, an easier road to success to ending the slaughterhouses and to ending the various other places where animals are used and hurt. We're also, one thing I forgot to mention, we're in the Bombay High Court against the cruel use of horses to haul heavy carriages in the city. So we work on a huge number of issues. It's really only the Jallikattu which has gotten a fair amount of more attention, but that's because of individuals who have been pushing to legalize it again. It really isn't something that we have been focusing on over and above any of our other campaigns. Well, there's two parts to that answer. One is those claims are not about PETA India. Those claims are about PETA US. PETA India is a separate organization. We're an Indian organization. We are affiliated with PETA US. We're affiliated with different PETAs around the world, but we're a different organization. And as far as PETA US is concerned, where all of that PETA kills misinformation is put out, it's put out by a front group of industries and companies PETA US campaigns against for their killing of animals and their cruelty to animals for profit. So what this group of companies and industries did is they formed an organization to try to discredit the work that PETA US does. And I have to say, that is so similar to what PETA India has been facing with pro-Jallikattu supporters. Because you have probably heard...
I want to come to that question. I'll just address that. So,
okay.
So,
No, but let me finish.
yeah.
Because, there's a lot of misinformation and lies put out by pro-Jallikattu supporters about PETA. We'll get to that question, as you said. I won't get into what those lies are. But that is where that criticism of PETA US comes from. That being said, I will say that it is a veterinary responsibility. PETA US has these huge mobile clinics, veterinary clinics, that go out into the fields in the impoverished areas of the United States, where they go and they actively look for animals who need veterinary care. They provide tens of thousands of animals with free veterinary care. PETA India, in comparison, is very small. We don't actually have as much of a capacity, even though we do have a sister organization that treats over 1,000 animals with veterinary care. And sometimes they will come across an animal whose head has been bashed in by a car. That animal would be, and I have seen, these animals, if your skull is smashed in by a car, if your insides are coming out of your body, it is a veterinary responsibility to make a decision to stop that animal's suffering. So, and that is what euthanasia is. So, when you hear about euthanasia, it is a merciful decision by a healthcare professional to help an animal who is suffering like that, to that extent. In contrast, the companies and industries that have come together, the meat industry, there's various meat companies in there, there's various pharmaceutical companies in there that have come together to form this front group to bash PETA US's work. Their interest is in killing animals for profit. Their interest is in selling meat. Their interest is in hurting animals, not for the animals, to line their pockets. There's nothing merciful about that. And so because PETA US is so successful in its campaigns and its work against the meat industry there and against the other industries that hurt and kill animals, they have decided to try to come together to discredit PETA US. One thing to keep in mind is that none of those allegations ever came out prior to our work in the Supreme Court in relation to enforcing the ban on use of bulls in performances. PETA has been in existence in India for 17 years. So it is preposterous to think that some MNCs set up PETA in India in the year 2000 so that in 2014 they can finally get to their real agenda of ending Jallikattu. And believe me, there's no MNCs who even probably know what Jallikattu is. One of the allegations is that PETA is supported by Coke and Pepsi. First of all, that is not true. You can Google it and you can discover that PETA US actually campaigned and worked to get Coke and Pepsi to stop testing on animals, testing their food products and their drink products on animals. And that is something that they achieved. The other allegation is that PETA is somehow supported by the Western dairy industry. PETA US, our affiliate abroad, PETA UK, PETA Germany, PETA Asia, and PETA India, we all campaign against dairy industry cruelty. We encourage people not to consume dairy products. We go into dairy farms, we get video footage, and we release video footage of the cruelty that is inherent in dairy production. Bring cruelty to the attention of the public. The public has every right to know what is happening on those dairy farms for the milk that they buy in the shops. They have every right to know as consumers, and they have every right to make their own decisions based on their knowledge of whether or not to buy this product. PETA cannot force anybody to do anything. We can only bring information to the public about what happens to animals on the dairy farms. And by the way, I drink milk. I don't drink milk that comes from an animal. I drink milk that comes from different plants. I drink soy milk, I drink almond milk, I drink coconut milk, there's rice milk. You don't have to have those milks. If you stop drinking milk, it's not necessary for the diet. But when one thing stops, another industry forms. So say, for example, if you take the leather industry, China is the world leader in synthetic leather. They still produce leather. They produce animal leather too, unfortunately, but they still produce other leather. But they have become the world leader in synthetic leather production. There are opportunities for farmers or for others who want to cater to people who want to have products which are not cruel to animals, but which are kind to animals, like the soya milks, like the vegan ice creams that you sometimes get in some places in India today. These are all business opportunities. And in fact, in the West, the vegan food market has really boomed because of the huge interest in vegan food that have come out lately. So as consumer opinions change, as consumer preferences change, slowly the industries and the types of products that are offered to people change. There's never going to be a situation where overnight everybody stops eating meat, or overnight everybody stops wearing leather, or overnight everybody stops eating eggs, or having milk. If that changes, once people learn about what happens to these animals, if they choose not to consume these products, gradually there will be other industries that crop up to fill that gap. I am in India legally, that any position that I have ever gotten in India has been legal. I have a PAN card, I pay taxes. Everything I do is legal. Well, Dr. Sini Krishna was not there in any of the inspections. He has not prepared any of the inspection reports. So he, in that regard, had no influence on a single word of those inspection reports. The inspection reports were prepared by the veterinarians and other animal welfare authorities who had gone to the various Jallikattu events. But it's not only the reports. Honorary animal welfare officers, not Dr. Sini Krishna, but other animal welfare officers. I don't know if you know, but Sini Krishna is elderly. Other animal welfare officers have gone to different Jallikattu events where they have actually filed dozens of cases of cruelty to animals with the police. They've filed FIRs, they've filed police complaints. So it's not only off the back of, nothing can happen. We're talking about the Supreme Court of the country. Nothing can happen off of one person or two people. The whole effort to demonize one person or two people, whether it's me, whether it's Sini Krishna, whether it's Maneka Gandhi, whether it's somebody else, none of these people as individuals, targeting any of these people as individuals, is never going to accomplish anything. It's never going to accomplish anything because it's the law of the land under which cruelty to animals is not allowed. It's okay if someone doesn't agree with me. People are allowed to not agree with me. I'm allowed to not agree with you. That's how the world works. But to try to bully me with things ranging from threat to my life, to people calling for me to be raped, to people calling me, referring to me with things that I don't know if you can even include these words on your program, but a prostitute, a whore, a bitch, a slut. I mean, all of these things are designed to bully and intimidate. And they're designed to bully and intimidate a person who does not make the law, who can, as part of our organizational mandate, yes, it's our mandate as an organization to uphold the law and to do everything we can to uphold the law. Well, PETA would go back to the Supreme Court. You know, everybody has a right to do that. Just like pro-Jallikattu supporters went to the Supreme Court to try to overturn the ban or to get it reconsidered, we have every right to go back to the Supreme Court and also request the Supreme Court to reconsider